stop when you're recruiting a player of that caliber, how much, because of what's out there now, one and dones and the culture of that, you recognize that that's obviously physical potential for that to happen, but how much in the recruiting process becomes about the long term, not just getting here in the first place, but about the process of multi-year?
Well, I think, in last year's recruiting class, there are 4 freshmen. In this year's recruiting class, there could be 3 or 4 freshmen. And that's the way you build a program. That's the way you build a foundation. Leading up to our first opponent, last year, we had to really scramble to put together a roster that could compete, given the schedule we put together, and we did that. We lose 4 senior guards from that team, including 2 fifth-year transfers. So when you lose 4 senior guards, anytime, it has its challenges. And with only 4 returning players on scholarship from last year's team, it's almost like year one all over again. But our front line is definitely better. It's deeper, it's bigger, it's more athletic, and it's better. And that'll serve us well. Our backcourt is brand new. In our first exhibition game, not a single guard that played a single minute didn't play in his first minute in an Auburn uniform, period. And for a couple of them, it was their first college game. So we've got some, I like our pieces, but we've got obviously a long way to go as far as getting this group to sort of be cohesive. I look at our seasons like many seasons. It's got many stages. This first stage, we're putting 2 teams on the schedule in UAB and Colorado. UAB played in the NCAA tournament, beat Iowa State, took UCLA, gave UCLA all they want. That's an NCAA caliber team. We're going to find out where we are in our first game with 7 or 8 brand new pieces against a team that brings 11 guys back, extremely well coached. We're going to find out a lot about where we're at right now. And then Colorado coming in on Tuesday, a 2 o'clock game, and I'm going to ask and need your support for that 2 o'clock start because really difficult for our season ticket holders to get there. Obviously, we'll do what we can on campus with our students, but there'll be a national television audience, 24 hours marathon of college basketball. We really need a great turnout, politically even, just so that we can continue to schedule, bring television in. I have no doubt that Friday's atmosphere is going to be electric, but I've got some concern about Tuesday. And then after those 2 games, we'll see where we're at. We'll play the first one without Bryce. We'll probably play the first 2 without Taj Shamsuddin. Taj is making great progress. He's practiced the last 2 days with no contact. And his timetable was originally 4 or 5 weeks, and I think there's a chance he will be under that.
He had said that he didn't want to come back at anything less than 100%, given the history. Is that also the approach here?
I think it's the right approach. He doesn't come back until the doctors and Taj are ready.
Bruce, I know it's 2015, but when you recruit a kid like Mustafa from that kind of part of the country,
right,
getting him kind of acclimated and understanding what he could kind of do at Auburn and how he will fit at Auburn, is that still a process, an extensive process?
Oh, I think he's so mature. Mustafa's so mature that he'll be fine. I mean, he's excited about the transition. He went to a small private school, and so he did want something a little smaller. And as far as how long he's here, that's all to be determined. I think he's got a great future. I think he's got a chance to be an NBA player. And I don't think he's worried about that right now, though. I think he's just worried about he's worried about? He's worried about doing a great job in school, winning a 3rd state championship, coming to Auburn and having a college experience. And whenever he's ready, if he's ready. That's his approach. He's got a wonderful approach. Unless you pin him in a corner and ask him a question about what his timetable is and make him answer, I don't think he's got any timetable. I think he's excited about being a high school senior and about being a college freshman.
Everybody good?
Bruce, for this game for UAB, I mean, there's a lot of your SEC brethren who scheduled far easier opening games, especially home opening games. Why did you choose not only a tournament team,
right,
a tournament team from your own state that you freely admit is the best team in this state?
Yeah, because I'm not afraid to lose or play to anybody. I'm not. And I don't care what people think or say, it's the right thing to do. We should play UAB. They've got a great history and tradition, Gene Bartow and all that they've done. And the only reason why you don't play them is because you're afraid to get beat by them. And that's just not a good enough reason. Preparing for Jared Haas's team has been great for my team. For 2 weeks, we've been working on his stuff. And his stuff is good. And other people that are really good coaches do a lot of the stuff that he does. So it's just a great prep. I think the other thing too is, historically, I don't mind saying that, I guess this was, my friend Chuck Galena came up with this, but since I've been in the SEC, this is entering my 8th year in the SEC, my teams have played the second toughest strength of schedule in the country, only behind Duke and Mike Krzyzewski. I didn't know that. And so when we're playing the second or third toughest schedule in the SEC, pick 10th, yeah, maybe I'm putting my kids in position I'm putting them in harm's way. A couple of true road games, 4 neutral site games. The games we're playing against home, I mean, even the Georgia Southerns and the Northwestern States and the Mercers, those were all not, none of those are given. But if we can win, then all of a sudden you get into league play and our RPI is where it's at. Now we got to win. But if you don't schedule, you tell your team, look, we're still the worst program in the league. I don't want to recruit that way. I don't want to schedule that way. I don't want to train that way. And most of the time last year we didn't play that way. We'll see if we can, in spite of that challenge, continue to make progress.